The stage is set again for the biggest competition in the continent of Africa. From 21st of December 2025, the heartbeat of African football will thunder across Morocco as the continent unites for the biggest showpiece in its sporting history, the African Cup of Nations, a land where tradition meets with passion. Morocco becomes the epicenter of African pride, welcoming giants, dreamers, and rising stars to the stadium that will roar with energy under the bright light of Rabat, Casablanca, Marrakesh, Agadir, Tangier, and Fes, with 24 nations chasing glory, driven by the hope of millions. This is more than a tournament. It is the celebration of identity, unity, and the unstoppable spirit of Africa. So Morocco will host the 35th edition of the African Cup of Nations. So just to remind you, the draws of the African Cup of Nations took place in January this year of 2025. So before I will take you through the countries that will be participating and how they have been divided into groups, let's take a look at the rich history of the African Cup of Nations and how the football in Africa definitely have grown and also seen lots of expansion. The inaugural edition of the competition in 1957 that was hosted by Sudan saw Egypt become the first country to actually win the competition. And Egypt went on to be the host nation in 1959, where they actually won it again, which means they have won it back to back in the country history between 1957 and 1959. But the competition, as at that time, only saw few countries that actually compete for the African Cup of Nations. Between 1957 and 1962, only about 3 to 4 countries participate in the African Cup of Nations. That makes it easy for countries that were that good to actually pick up wins, and it is being counted that they have actually won it in their country history. So from 1963 to 1992, the football in Africa actually expanded, and the growth and the countries that participate in the African Cup of Nations increased to 8. So between 1963 to 1992, 8 countries usually compete for the African Cup of Nations. And from 1996 to 2017, the competition expanded, and the growth and the competition expanded, and that actually saw 16 countries participating in the African Cup of Nations. That have actually made the competition within the last 2 decades, where 16 countries have been participating, to be very competitive and had actually thrown African football to the global stage. So, looking at after 2017 edition, an agreement was reached between the CAF body and the football again expanded from 16 countries to 24 countries. The first edition of 24 countries took place in 2019, and that was the first time African Cup of Nations have actually changed the procedures from 16 countries to 24 countries. So which then means the road to the final of the competition has actually been extended by an additional stage. And what does that mean? You'll get to know in the course of this video. So looking at this edition of the Afcon 2025, the 35th edition that is being hosted by Morocco across 6 major cities in the country, Morocco will welcome 23 other countries to the country to fight for the glory of the Afcon trophy. And that is the beauty that actually unites Africa together. And like I said earlier, this is more than a competition. It is the celebration of identity. It is the celebration of unity and the unstoppable spirit of Africa. And that is just what we are going to be seeing in the 35th edition of the African Cup of Nations. So going into this particular competition that will kick off on the 21st of December 2025, 24 countries will be participating. So looking at the 35th edition of the African Cup of Nations, which I will describe as the 4th edition after the expansion from 16 countries to 24 countries, because the first edition, when it was increased from 16 to 24, was hosted in 2019. And so in 2019, 24 countries took part in the African Cup of Nations. In 2021, in 2023, and now the 2025 Afcon, which is the 35th edition, is the 4th edition that will see 24 countries actually participating in the competition. And the 24 countries to take part in those competitions are Morocco, which are actually the host nation, Comoros, Mali, Zambia, South Africa, Angola, Egypt, Zimbabwe, DR Congo, Benin Republic, Senegal, and Botswana, Nigeria, Tanzania, Tunisia, Uganda, Burkina Faso, Equatorial Guinea, Algeria, Sudan, Cote d'Ivoire, Mozambique, Cameroon, and Gabon. So those are the 24 countries that will be participating, or that will be competing for the African Cup of Nations trophy. So having looked at that, in January of this year, the CAF body actually made the draw for the competition, and the 24 countries were actually divided into 6 groups of 4 countries each. And here are the various groups that will be competing. In Group A, we have Comoros, Mali, Morocco, and Zambia. In Group B, we have Angola, Egypt, South Africa, and Zimbabwe. In Group C, we have Nigeria, Tanzania, Tunisia, and Uganda. In Group D, we have Benin Republic, Botswana, DR Congo, and Senegal. And in Group E, we have Algeria, Burkina Faso, Equatorial Guinea, and Sudan. And in Group F, we have Cameroon, Gabon, Cote d'Ivoire, and Mozambique. So, the 24 countries have been divided into 6 groups of 4 countries each. And all of those countries are chasing one trophy, which is the Afcon trophy. They are chasing one trophy, which is the Afcon trophy. And this is the trophy. Believe me, as I'm holding it, it will be coming to Nigeria, talking about the Super Eagles of Nigeria. We are just there for one purpose, and that purpose is to lift this trophy. So, the procedure for the Afcon, the procedure for the qualification from the group stage, as previously done, before, when it was 16 countries, it's just 2 qualifying from each group and straight to the quarterfinal. But after the expansion to 24 countries, we now have from the group stage of the competition to the knockout stage, to the quarterfinal, the semi-final, and the final. So, having just 6 groups with 4 countries each, 2 countries will qualify from each of the group. And so, if 2 countries qualify from each group, for 6 groups, it means we'll have a total of 12 countries that will qualify automatically from the group stage of the competition. So, 4 countries will be remaining. So, and what will happen? 4 of the best third place, 4 of the best placed third place will now be added to the 12 countries that have qualified automatically, and that will make it 16 countries. And the draws will be made for that 16 countries for the knockout phase. And after the knockout phase, the 8 countries from that stage will qualify to the quarterfinal stage, and from the quarterfinal stage to the semi-final stage, and down to the final stage. And that is the procedures of the Afcon 2025, and that is what it has been in the previous edition, talking about the 34th edition that was hosted by the Ivory Coast, talking about the Elephant of Cote d'Ivoire. So, going into this competition in Morocco, the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire are the defending champion of this competition, and that actually means that the Afcon have rich histories of various winners, and also giants of African football are also still going to participate in this particular competition. So, from the inaugural edition of the competition till date, we have 35 edition, and this Morocco 2025 will be the 35th edition of the competition. And in all of the editions, Egypt have won the Afcon 7 good times. The giants of Africa, the forests of Egypt, are the giants of Africa that have won the African Cup of Nations the most time. They have won it 7 times in their country history. They won it in 1957, in 1959, in 1986, in 1998, 2006, 2008, and 2010. And the Pharaohs of Egypt are the first country to have won the African Cup of Nations 3 consecutive times in a row. They won it in 2006, 2008, and in 2010. And ever since then, the Pharaohs of Egypt have still been chasing for the trophy of Afcon. And next is the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon. The Indomitable Lions of Cameroon have won the African Cup of Nations 5 times. They won it in 1984, in 1988, in 2000, in 2002, and in 2017. Cameroon was actually the country that won the last edition that was hosted by 16 countries before it was now expanded to 24 countries. So Cameroon actually won that last edition in 2017. So in their country history, the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon have won the African Cup of Nations 5 times, followed by the Black Stars of Ghana. The Black Stars of Ghana have won the Afcon 4 good times. They won it in 1963, in 1965, in 1978, and in 1982. While next to the Black Stars of Ghana is the Super Eagles of Nigeria. The Super Eagles of Nigeria have won it 3 times. They won it in 1980, in 1994, and in 2013 when it was hosted by South Africa. And next to the Super Eagles of Nigeria is the Ivory Coast, talking about the Elephant of Cote d'Ivoire. They've also won it 3 times. They won it in 1992, in 2015, and in 2023. So going into this competition, the Elephant of Cote d'Ivoire are coming into this competition as the defending champion of the African Cup of Nations. And also, DR Congo have actually changed their names 2 times, and in that 2 occasions, they've actually won the Afcon. When it was Congo Kinshasa, they won it in 1968. And within that period of time, the country's name was changed again to Zaire, and they won it in 1974 as Zaire. And currently, they are the countries we see as Democratic Republic of Congo. So they have gone on to actually win it 2 times. And Senegal have actually won it once. I think they won it, was it the 2019 edition, which they actually won, and that was the first time in their history. And also talking about Morocco, the host nation, they've actually won it once in 1976. So it's going to be an interesting and very tough showpiece that will be going down in Morocco. This will be played across 6 cities in Morocco with about 10 stadiums that will be hosting the competition. And so we expect a very interesting showpiece in the continent of Africa, talking about the African Cup of Nations. That will kick off in less than 2 weeks from today. So, having taken a look at the countries that will be participating, your country is there, of course. Who do you think will be crowned the champion next year, January, when the final will go down? Do you see your country going down to the final? Because I am very, very optimistic. Because for Super Eagles to have lost out, not qualifying for the World Cup 2026, winning the Afcon will just be the only thing that can actually take that place of not qualifying for the World Cup. And in fact, not just taking the place, to me, it will be the biggest thing to happen if we went on to win the Afcon. Because not qualifying for the World Cup, I'm not saying I'm very happy that we did not qualify. That aside, we did not qualify, the feeling is different. But then, if we went on to lift the Afcon trophy, believe me, I will appreciate it more than participating in the World Cup and not winning it. The feeling of being in the World Cup is quite different, but I think winning the Afcon will definitely bring succor of not qualifying for the World Cup next year. Do you think your country are capable of beating the Super Eagles of Nigeria to lift the trophy, to lift the Afcon trophy when the competition kicks off proper? Drop your thoughts down below. Now, before I end this video, the African football, talking about the Afcon, is the biggest stage when it comes to African football, and as such, every players are always longing, preparing, and wants to be in the stadium. But one man has been excluded from their squad, and none other. Check this report. Andre Onana and Vincent Abubakar have been left out of Cameroon squad for the Afcon. Wow. This is one big player that is missing out of the Afcon. Andre Onana and Vincent Abubakar have been left out of the Cameroonian national team squad that will be participating in the African Cup of Nations. Is this a good one for the Indomitable Lion of Cameroon, not going with one of the best goalkeepers in the country? For my Cameroonian fans, drop your thought below. Do you think leaving out Andre Onana as one of the best stopper in Cameroon is just the right decision that the manager have actually taken? So let's end the video with this news that FIFA has actually given to clubs. Check this out. FIFA have informed clubs that they will be able to retain their players selected for Afcon until December 15. So December 15 is the deadline that FIFA has given to club to every clubs to release players that have been selected for the Afcon. Failure to do that, FIFA did not actually spell what will happen, but definitely, I know there will be penalties for that. But man, this will definitely go a long way to affect some clubs. Club like Fulham Football Club that have 3 Super Eagles players, not just Super Eagles players. They are starters in Fulham and also in the Super Eagles team. Talking about Kevin Bassey, Alex Iwobi, and Samuel Chukwueze. And also Manchester United will miss 3 good players, Mazzari, Amad Diallo, and Brian Mbeumo. Some club will definitely miss their key players. What do you make of the Afcon that will be going down in Morocco in less than 2 weeks from today? Who do you think will be crowned the winner of the Afcon? Drop your thoughts down below. Let the conversation continue from there. African football is beautiful, and as such, together, football unites us than it can break us. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you in my next video.